Cool. All righty. Well, we've just got a couple more joining us there as well, but thank you to everyone for joining us. Apologies for the delay with the actual Zoom tasting itself. So I know even this time we were very well organized. Of course, we had actually for the first time we said, okay, we've got the date, we'll get it all printed, it's going in the booklets, everyone will know. And then we had an issue with our labels for Crackendale. So unfortunately, we pushed it all back. And then as such, we had to push back the tasting as well. So thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for coming and joining us still this evening. Lots of familiar faces as always on there. So yeah, firstly, it was apologies. And of course, then the box itself was slightly delayed. But hopefully you've all got the boxes now. You've all had a chance to start enjoying them. And Crackendale, to our own home, but of course worth waiting for too. So it's certainly been popular. We were trying it just earlier today. So today, as always, my name's James. I'm the export manager at Thornbridge Brewery, joined by Russell, our taproom manager, been looked after by Charlotte, our social media coordinator. And then we're lucky to be joined by Jack from Asvex as well. So Jack's the brewer over at Asvex. He's come out to the brewery. He's helped us make Katmai. So thank you, Jack, for joining us this evening too, to talk through the beers as well. And so, yeah, firstly, actually, we had a little extra in the box as well. So alongside all of the beers, as you'd expect, hopefully you all got yourselves a bag of crisps there as well. So we've teamed up with Serious Pig. We've been doing a bit of work with them. We've had some discussions about other bits and pieces. So if you enjoyed these, please keep an eye out in the future. But these ones, they had wanted to, they've been very excited about their sausage crisps. I've had a number of different Serious Pig products in different pubs and bars as well, and enjoyed them personally. So it was always nice to work with those guys. And when we had the chance to team up with them, as you may have seen on our social medias, we've been running competitions with them, like I say, planning some stuff for the future with them as well. So the chance to pop some of those in and hopefully, crave some hungers as well while people are working their way through the box. Seemed like a nice opportunity too. So hope everyone enjoyed those crisps alongside the beers there as well. And, of course, without further ado, we don't want anyone getting thirsty. We've got lots of different beers to talk through. And I know Russell has been particularly enjoying the Crackendale as well. Now we've all got it in our bottles. So Russell, please tell us a bit about how you've been finding the Crackendale.
Yeah, it's been great. We had it on earlier this year on cask in the tap room, and it's always a favourite of everyone's. It's probably the beer that we're probably most requested for out of our core range, specifically to go on cask on the bar. So, yeah, to have it in 500ml bottles, to have it bottle conditioned as well is great. Yeah, and it's great to have it now to the lineup. But if we get straight into it, it's obviously it's one of our smash beers. So single hop, single malt as well, or the other way around, I should say. But yeah, really light in colour. Obviously, when we're pouring it, just got to be really gentle with it, obviously, because there'll be a bit of sediment in the bottle. But yeah, really, really kind of light in colour. Really, really fragrant. Oh, God. That kind of lemony, kind of pink grapefruit as well comes out of that. But yeah, that Citra hop is just incredible. Really, really, really nice for me. And yeah, it's been around for ages. Part of the Thornbridge kind of core beer selection, brewed at the same sort of time as Kipling, as one of the single hop beers we did. Obviously, before now we've done the whole Quiet Storm range. But yeah, let's give it a try. So yeah, really clean on the palate, really easy drinking. It's not quite as harsh as kind of that Jaiparka kind of bitterness. At a 5.2 ABV, sessionable. Well, that's questionable, but yeah, I think it's certainly worth having a few. So yeah, it's just a fantastic beer, and I don't know. I was a bit dubious of bottled beer. I much prefer mine in a can, but I've got to admit I've sunk a few 500ml Jaiparkas recently, and they've been going down really, really well. So to get now Crackendale to the collection, yeah, it's a winner. And to be honest, I've had this in the car for most of the week, and I've not refrigerated it, and it's just great. It's brilliant. So yeah, really happy with it. Food pairing. I know you're all on the edge of your seats for a food pairing. Now, like before, I get slammed by probably James for not drinking the beer. I've used the beer in something, and I've used it to make a batter, and then I've made like little fish cakes with those. Okay.
Very nice.
So yeah, bit of flour, a bit of beer, makes a great batter. Deep fry a few fish cakes, and then a lemon wedge on top. But that Citra hop really comes out, I think, in the batter. So, if you get the time over the weekend, grab yourself. If you've got that extra bottle of Crackendale, get yourself down to the tap room because they're there. They're on sale. Cheap as chips. £2.50 a bottle. We'll do you 8 for 20 quid. Yeah, try it out.
Real nice. I mean, the props every week, Russell. I'm getting more and more impressed with. That's
Yeah. I mean, I've made these from scratch as well, and I've had football after work as well. Look at that. See, they're still warm as well. So so I'm really. I mean, I'm 100% committed to this. So.
Yeah. Well done. That's a good going and a good pairing as well there too. Like you say, now you can drink the beer and try them as well afterwards.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and this one I mentioned briefly, we had our sort of monthly sales and marketing meeting earlier, and everyone takes the chance to try through the beers if they haven't, got to them yet. And Crackendale in bottle was really a big winner. That almost sweetness, like you say, away from that heavy bitterness. We talked about it being, opal fruits or starburst even, or something like that, because of that sweetness and that citrus as well in there. So it's great to be able to do this. Expect to see a lot more of this in bottles going forwards. We've began with it in cask. We've, of course, as Russell said, done lots of cask over the years, and now going into bottle after it's had little bits of time in 330ml, but I do think it very much suits that 500ml bottle too as well. So yeah, perfect addition to the lineup. And cheers, Russell. Always good to hear it. I know you, of course, love your cask beers and enjoy seeing them on the bar there at the tap room. So it's that next evolution of it as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're desperate always to try and get Crackendale on kind of next to Jaipur. We think it's a good intro into Jaipur because it's a bit soft on the palate, like you say. And yeah, it's brilliant in a bottle. I know I rave about most of the beers, but yeah, I've been a real fan of that one.
Good, yeah. And that's something as well you mentioned there with the bottle conditioning too. So you get that really nice, like creamy head on there as you'd expect from a proper cask beer. You might get a little bit of sediment, of course, it is properly bottle conditioned too. So it's part of the natural process with it there, but it just gives that really great mouthfeel to it as well. I wouldn't recommend the car storage for a week, of course, but no, it's certainly, been a very popular one for us. And so Steve was saying, it doesn't taste like 5.2%. That's something, certainly we've heard that before about a lot of our beers. I think it's the balance that comes with them, that very much drinkability even at the higher ABVs. And Matt had Crackendale in every format, but this is the fave. Okay, good. Well, I'm pleased. Yeah, that next evolution of bottle for it as well there. So as always, please keep popping any questions you've got for any of us in the chat there as well. Let us know what you're thinking, what you thought of the beers, what beers you've been enjoying generally. It's always nice to hear from everyone. Doug, ordering 8 more as we speak. Oh, thank you very much, Doug. And don't you worry, there will certainly be lots more bottle conditioned beers coming out. We have had that demand just generally and coming in for those and in that 500ml format. So yeah, don't you worry, we'll certainly be doing many more bottle conditioned beers. As Beer Club members, you'll be getting them in the boxes. You'll be hearing all about them when we do them. So it's going to be quite an exciting thing to do. Matt, bottle conditioned Chiron, certainly. Actually, it's been on the export side, been a very popular one in can. So certainly something we'd never say never to about moving it into bottle. It always goes well when we do in cask as well too. So a good starter, I think, there with Crackendale kicking us off nicely too, which takes us on to another light pale ale as well. As always, we'll talk through all the beers in the case here. Do not feel any pressure at all to keep up and drink at the same speed as we're talking through them. You can always come back to it. Hopefully we'll get it right and I've recorded it properly. I'm not overly skilled on it, but we'll try and save them and get them onto YouTube for you later so you can come and have a look. But the next one we have, of course, continues the Quiet Storm series. So this is our single hop series, a real favorite for us. And we love making these beer styles. The brewers love to play around with the different hops that we have here. And Centennial has been such a backbone, really, of the craft brewing scene for, since the 90s now. And it was originally blended as a sort of German meets American hop. So you get that fantastic freshness from it. And the flavor starts to come through. It's that really pithy, that fresh grapefruit, that zestiness in there as well. And some of my favorite kind of, if anyone's ever had Bell's Two Hearted, an amazing big American IPA that's solidly done with Centennial. It's held its own in, these classic beers for numerous years now. It's a very popular hop, so it's fantastic to be able to put it ourselves into a can and be able to drink it. So you get that nice light pale body you'd expect when you're drinking the Quiet Storm series, the great head on there. And then as I mentioned, that big citrus note, and it just works so well. The bittering, the flavor. For me, it's such an all-round hop that we get such demand for. We have it in Jaipur already, so you may recognize a little of that aroma in there too. But yeah, again, one of those. We've got some really new hops in the series, some classic hops, some German hops, all sorts. So it's great to be able to pay a little homage really to one of the hops that helped put craft beer, American craft beers on the map too. How are you finding it there, Russell? Sorry, interrupting
yeah.
your
Obviously,
mouthful
being
there.
coming from massive man about Jaipur. So the latest we've done, the Amarillo, the Harlequin, and now the Centennial, brilliant, really, really good. I've always got a plug with Tap Room. We're one of the the few places that's got it on draft at the moment because I think a lot of it's gone overseas, hasn't it, and gone internationally. But it's great. And we're really pushing our single hop range at the moment because we're just finding they're getting better and better. It feels like the brewers are just learning more and more about those single hop brews as they go along. So yeah, it's fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
Yes, yeah, that's it. We're actually moving slightly more to having more kegs coming out. As you mentioned, the demand is there, especially for things like this. So we made sure the tap room will have some, but in the future we'll be getting more kegs out and about everywhere too, as we see that demand, especially for these styles as well. Tina, yeah, it could be put forward for CBOB, certainly. Don't you worry, we will be looking into CBOB and the other competitions as well for these bottle condition beers that we have going through here as well. So yeah, we'll certainly be doing that. That's definitely in mind for us overall. So as I mentioned, we're on the chat, so let us know what your favorite Quiet Storms have been so far. I'll be honest, I think this is really getting up. I enjoyed the Harlequin a lot. Maybe I'm just captured in the moment, but Harlequin was really good. Centennial, I think maybe because I'm thinking as well of how well it tastes already with these big beers that I love, it's worked really nicely for me. How about you, Russell? Have you had a favorite?
So for me at the moment, it's Harlequin.
Yeah.
I just think it was such a fantastic, clean, crisp beer. I can't believe it's a British hop. I cannot believe, it's English derived. It's so sort of that kind of, big punchy American kind of flavour. It's incredible to think that, we've grown it, from these shores. So at the moment, Harlequins, I'm still with it. But I will say that I had a pint of Quiet Storm Centennial yesterday on the bar, and it went down too easily, if anything.
Yeah, that was definitely. In fact, Tom just there saying about the Centennial being really good as well. I'd agree with you there as well, Russell, on Harlequin too. It was phenomenal. I mean, the guys from Charles Fareham, talked so much about what a great hop it was, how they've worked on this with, hop growers as well to get this right. And it certainly did sing really well. Matt, loving the cashmere. Okay, fantastic. And actually, we have some of that in the final beer we'll be doing this evening too. So if you enjoy it and you haven't tried that yet, that's a good one to go for. But cashmere, actually, even again, I mentioned the tasting we did this afternoon on the back of the meeting, and cashmere was raised a few times as well. It seems to have quite a lot of fans, certainly. But that takes us that next step of the Quiet Storm series. But what we have now, of course, is our collaboration brew. So Jack has joined us, as I mentioned. Jack's the brewer from Asvex. He came down to see us at the brewery, create the beer. We'd worked on a recipe together. And so Jack was kind enough to come and join us and actually do it properly with us as well on the day. So Jack, if you don't mind jumping on, tell us about the beer, how you came to brew it, why you decided on the style and the ingredients there.
Hello, everybody. I am Jack. I'm the brewer from Asvex. Hopefully you can all hear me because, as was probably alluded to, we've all had technical issues this evening. So headphones and mobile phones rather than the fancy laptop that's from work. So God's law. So Asvex, we are just about a year and a half old now, so we're pretty new. But I think we pack a lot of experience in our small team. There's only 4 of us full time and 2 taproom employees. Adam, the owner, is formerly of Neon Raptor Brewery from Nottingham. Obviously, got a great reputation in the sort of craft scene for producing all sorts of weird and wacky beverages. And myself, I've been a brewer for the best part of 12 years now, which makes me feel phenomenally old, really. And probably was drinking Jaipur slightly underage even before then, to be honest. So yeah, we've just been going for about a year and a half, predominantly known for big hazy hoppy IPAs, silly imperial stouts, fruity things. We sort of try and put a touch to as many different diverse styles as we can do, but certainly more on the sort of progressive modern edge of brewing, without sounding too up on self. So the ability to actually come and collaborate with quite literally one of the breweries that started my passion in beer. It wasn't just hyperbole saying that I was drinking Jaipur, all those years ago. I certainly was, just in my little local pub. And I've always had some great respect for Thornbridge and for the things that Thornbridge does. So yeah, this is honestly one of those absolutely want to do that moments. So this is kind of a bit of a hybrid beer, I suppose, between slightly more traditional styles and then sort of a modern, maybe an Azvex-y twist on a beer. I love a brown ale, I do. I make keg and can beer predominantly in my job, but we certainly drink a lot of cask in our spare time, and brown ales are up there as sort of my favourite styles. So this is pretty much an aggressively hopped, you want to call it American style brown ale. I think it's actually got Kashmir in it. It certainly has Centennial, Ecuador, and Citra. So there's a bit of all those hops that you might well have tried. I've got it poured out in an appropriate glass as well. So I'm balancing my phone on the laptop. So nice Azvex glass. But I mean, the color alone is just absolutely fantastic on this. Even on the day when we kind of got the sample of the wort, I was like, yeah, that color is spot on. It's like deep ruby brown. I saw the taste note said mahogany, and I couldn't think of a much better suggestion for that. Aromatically, it really screams kind of light citrus sort of. I almost kind of get lime on there, or lemon lime sort of aromas on it. It does smell really good. You can get those kind of hoppy aromatics out, that heavy, quite heavy dry hop we did on this, alongside a big hop back as well. I love this. Is my first time trying it too, so this is as new to me as it is for anyone else on the chat. Yeah, it's got a nice level of bitterness to it. We wanted to put a little bit of something in there, a little bit of bite. It's nutty. It's got that kind of coffee note to it as well. Nice dry finish on it. A little bit kind of like baking chocolate flavor too. So everything I'd kind of want in a brown ale. But as I say, with that sort of hoppy bite put alongside it as well. Yeah, and if anyone has any questions for me, please pop them in the chat. I can certainly talk for England at the best of times, so I can certainly answer anything anyone wants to know. But yeah, thank you ever so much for letting us come down and play on the big kit and have a walk around Thornbridge Hall, eat a load of pizzas, have some Jaipur on cask in the tap room. It was an awful day. Shan't be doing it again. Didn't see the pigs. Very disappointed.
Oh, sorry. Next time.
No worries.
No, but well, thank you for the kind words as well there. It was great. I know I wasn't actually around on the day, unfortunately, but the brewers were really pleased you'd come down and made the effort and everything. And, I had, like you say, lots of pizza and Jaipur. So a good day, I think, was had by all there as well. But the final product, I was making sure, doing my homework and drinking through at the weekend before now as well, just to make sure. But it is, as you mentioned, that kind of nutty coffee caramel mix in, then nicely get that fantastic big hopping, as we already talked about, the Kashmir, the Centennial as part of it too. And those styles, they work so well, red IPAs, brown ales, with that American hop twist. I think it's just such a good complement of flavors generally. So yeah, thanks for everything, of course, on getting it ready and planning it in and making it up like that as well. And I mean, alongside the beer too, we've got lots of big beer lovers and brewery fans, as you'd imagine, on the call as well. So is there anything you know, from, I know you mentioned your time at Asvex, you sort of explained a little, but is there anything you can give us the full history, or where to find you, or what beers to look out for that you'd recommend at the moment?
Sure, yeah. So I guess one of the more unique things about the way we produce beer is we pretty much put out 2 new beers a week. We only brew twice a week, brew about 5,000 liters a week, which is one single brew on the Thornbridge kit, and you guys brew 6 to 8 times a day. So very, very weak in comparison. But pretty much every week we're putting out beers on a Friday. So there's always something fresh around. As I say, there's a variety of styles, mainly kind of sticking to hoppy and pale stuff, but pale ales and IPAs and such. Currently at the moment, actually I've got one here. I came prepared. We've just done a collaboration with some another set of friends as well, Polly's Brew Company, from North Wales, from Mold. Lovely set of people. So that's super fresh one, double IPA. I was going to do some quality control on that one later, just to make sure everything was fine. And we've also released our 100th batch. It's a hybrid of multiple things. We're calling it a smoothie sour because it's 30% fruit puree, and it's also 10%. So it's extremely strong, extremely fruity, and it's like drinking an alcoholic smoothie. So there's a couple of things that we do. Bit of chalk and cheese, really. We've got an online web store, so you can just head down to arsvexbrewing.com. And you can order from there. It's next day delivery if it's midweek. Can't do Friday, Saturdays, or Sunday deliveries because it's couriers and such. And apart from that, if you want to see our beer anywhere, the best thing you can do is ask your local publican to stock us. I'll support your local bottle shop as well, of course. You know, we send all around the country and all around the world, to be honest. So yes, some of our stuff comes out in pubs in Liverpool, but we do most of our distribution through wholesalers and international as well. So we are quite literally all over the country, even for a small brewery with a small footprint. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well deserved to be out that far in a field and you know, getting your beer into different places as well. The quality always comes through very nicely. And it's 2 new beers every single week then. That's good going.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. We sometimes do some rebrews of some of the classic beers that people really enjoyed, but more often than not, we're sort of trying to still hone in on try and perfect everything. We're kind of about marginal gains at Asvex, so we've got a really fancy all singing, all dancing brew kit. With sort of heated mash tuns and heat exchangers everywhere and all sorts of little places we can sort of tweak and adjust our recipes. So year and a half's a good time for us to really start to lock in and get some really consistent quality out there. I can honestly say when I look at our fridge and our tap room, I go, yeah, do you know what? I'm really happy with every single one of those. And we're still kind of working on some bits and bobs and seeing where we can go. So I think there's enough variety in what we produce, even though, as I say, we do a lot of hoppy, hazy IPAs all the time. So yeah, there's always room to kind of do some tweaks and changes. We're always messing around with different hop varieties as well, different combinations, different yeasts, different malts. The world is our oyster, and we really enjoy being little nerdy, sciencey brewing geeks.
Nice. Well, I mean, that sounds perfect, really. And like you say, the quality is there as well, of course, and it's coming on nicely too. Actually, there's a quick question for you there. Will you be at the Liverpool Craft Beer Expo in June? Can people find you there?
Yes, I believe we're just finishing details on that one, so I wouldn't want to confirm too much. But our tap room will certainly be open at the same time. So probably should have said that. Our tap room's open Thursday to Sunday, 4 till 10 on Thursday and Friday, and then 12 till 11 on a Saturday, and 2 till 8 on a Sunday. You can find it all on social media if you so wish. And we do have food available as well from vendors. Again, on the social medias, we've got a list of who's coming up and what they offer and stuff as well. So you can find us in Liverpool. Yeah, just near the Liver building, about 100 meters away from the Liver building. So if you're down there having a look at all the touristy stuff, we're not far away.
Fantastic. Well, Steve is already looking forward to visiting you in the tap room there. Matt's giving you bonus points for the Talking Heads poster. as well. So you're winning everyone over nicely there. So yeah, thank you. Doug, nice bounce to the Katmai, coffee nutty notes. Yeah, alongside the hoppiness. It's that for me, that perfect complementary beer. It's yeah, and it's been well received already. We've been getting kegs and cans out, as you'd imagine. Russell, how's it been going in the tap room for you?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Any sort of kind of American brown, it just works really, really well. And we're just about to put it on the bar as well. I can't remember what it's coming in after, but the girls today, the artists have been doing the board for it, and yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Any sort of like American brown goes down really, really well anyway. But I mean, it's fantastic. It's great. So yeah, it's going to fly out. And I think I've got 2 kegs of it before we move on. So yeah, it'll fly out this weekend. It'll be gone by next week.
Perfect. Good. Actually, Jack, I meant to ask, sorry, as well. With it, when we were talking about naming it, and of course you'd come up with the name, well, the team at least. I don't know if it was you or Adam specifically, but was it a love of bears generally? Because there was a few bear names suddenly came into the conversation.
I think we were thinking of something along the lines of being a North American style brown ale. We thought of grizzly bears or brown bears or such like. So I think first we mentioned Kodiak as a name, but I believe Beartown Brewery have a core range beer called Kodiak, and we don't want to step on any toes. So yeah, Katmai is I believe it's a national park where you can go and see kind of the vast majority of brown bears. And also it wasn't in fact in the conversation, but my nickname for years was Grizzly Bear or Bear or whatever, and I've got a big bear tattoo on my arm, so I like bears anyway, so it suits me.
Oh, nice. Oh, good. Yeah,
I'd show you the tattoo, but I'm not taking my top off on camera. Sorry.
Well, yeah. Well, no pressure. Don't worry. But yeah, I was curious about it when we'd seen the sort of list of names. It's always, I mean, one of the hardest things we often find is coming up with names, for the different beers and things. So it's appreciated when you had such a range of them already. It was good to do. I think
well, if you like a weird variety of names, you should see half the names that we call our beers. We have the strangest variety because they're either sort of sciencey and engineering based, or they're quite often things that we misspeak in the brewery. So someone will say something like, "Oh, have you got the hotel ticket?" instead of the hotel key card, and lo and behold, it becomes a beer. So we have exactly the same problem, and we have a big group chat with just name after name after name that we all just kind of like or don't like, and then eventually they end up on a can, like spherical cow problems or abyssal plains or lion's mane haircut or flamingo duvet set. I can go on and on.
No, it's good, especially if you're doing 2 new ones a week. You need them more than we do at the moment as well. And the name Azvex, am I right? I remember looking into it, and that's a name that just hadn't been done anywhere. It was a new word, basically. Was that the plan behind it?
Yeah, pretty much. To put it in kind of commercial terms, if you pop Azvex into Google, the only thing that's going to pop up is Azvex. If you call your brewery Apple Brewing Company, you're not going to find yourself. So, bit of a made up word, and then also sort of the ability to do a little logo. Sorry, a little logo just for the sort of you got it, but you can't see it. So yeah, just
on the
something simple and easy. Oh, there you go. Yeah, something simple and easy, and also has got lots of Z's and X's in it that not many places do either. So good Scrabble, good for Scrabble.
True. No, it's good. Because when we were coming up with names from our side, and I was like, tying to it with Azvex, I'm like, what is an Azvex? And then I found out it was just a made up word that you'd done there. So it's a good idea. Definitely memorable.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, cool. Good. And I mean, you mentioned Polly's as well. Are there any other collabs you've got coming up that we should keep an eye out for? Anything, of your own beers, not just collabs, anything specifically you'd point us towards in the future?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're participants at the moment interested in trying a bit of a side by side or something a little bit more scientific, I suppose we've got a couple of beers that we'll be packaging. Not next week, but the week after. So probably 2 weeks tomorrow will be on the shop. Are 2 beers that are virtually identical, except for one thing that we've changed. A little bit of process, a little bit of something that we're doing with the beer. Shan't go into it any further than that before I give some spoilers away. But we think it makes a significant difference, despite everything else in the beer being exactly the same ingredients wise. and off the top of my head, it's something like Shipwrecked Hearts and Seasick Bones, or Seasick Heart and Shipwrecked Bones, something like that. The two beers. So that's an interesting one to see sort of how process can affect the same beer. Next week we've got a West Coast IPA coming out, which we do few and far between, but certainly some of my favorite beers that we produce.
Yeah.
So nice, big and bitter, and counter to what we normally do, clear. So I always like a West Coast IPA, so that's coming through in the woodwork too.
Right.
Collaborations wise, we've got one with Turning Point coming up the week of the expo, actually, because they're coming to town. What else are we doing collab wise? We've got a reciprocal collaboration at Track in Manchester as well. So we did one at ours back end of last year, and we're going to go to them in the coming months as well. So again, another really stellar brewery, been around for the best part of I think they're 11 years now. It's great to be able to brew with guys like that who we genuinely look up to as peers in the industry, and can't wait to brew with them.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I mean, Track, well known for a long time. I've been in their tap rooms and things in Manchester, enjoyed some fantastic beers from them too. So that sounds like a great coming up. I'm intrigued. I'm going to have to be keeping an eye out then to see the changing process with those two beers that you've got coming out. And yeah, good names as well. I like that. Almost got a Frank Turner-esque feel to them. It's very cool. I'll be keeping an eye out. I'm excited to give them a try and see the differences. And got a question there again from Steve. Just, will you be coming back to that beer place in Chester?
If they want to invite us back, well, we can certainly be back. Yeah. So I think it was Sam that went down to that one, who's our assistant. I know he had a great time. Chester's only down the road. I'm from Chester sort of semi-regularly, and I'm in that beer place quite regularly as well. Yeah, it's good, really good spot. Really like it there.
Well, hopefully so in that case then. But brilliant, thank you, Jack. Thanks for taking the time, talking us through the beer and Asvex as well, and everything else too. And so, if anyone is looking out for new beers, if you haven't had the chance yet to try them, as you say, doing 2 new beers a week, certainly a great range. So I'm sure people will be checking out the website afterwards as well too. So thank you again, Jack. Cheers.
Nice, thank you so much. Thanks for letting me come on and waffle away. Cheers.
Perfect, appreciate it. Thanks. And then as we're talking there about events and things like that, just looking ahead a little bit, Charlotte, have we got a couple of events? I think we've got one rescheduled. Is that right? That are coming up if anyone's around?
Yeah, so the event at the Neepsen Social Club in Sheffield, obviously that was cancelled because of the snow. So that's now going to be the 14th of April. It's kind of a meet the brewer, and they've got a Thornbridge infused food menu as well. So that sounds exciting.
Nice.
And then there's another event at the end of this month at the Wagon and Horses, again in Sheffield. And that's a tap takeover with Cask and K.
Real.
Yeah, that's about it.
So we're ramping up to get up to, back out and about a bit more. We'll be doing a number of festivals and events and things too. So do keep an eye out. It's crazy now thinking how much snow we had even just last time, a few weeks ago when we were trying to do these events. Sheffield I got a foot here in the garden, and it was bonkers. And now nothing. Now it's nice and warm. So very strange. But just to mention, I suppose, while we're talking on events and things like that, if anyone has had a look or received the emails today, we put on, it's a big weekend. We know the clocks are changing, the sunshine's coming. So we thought perfect time to put on some Green Mountain, one of our core absolute favorite beers. So if you do get if you're looking to pick up an online shop now, pop on there and you'll see we've got a good offer going on the Green Mountain cans at the minute. So if anyone needs a fridge top up or anything, make sure to head there. I believe the emails went out this afternoon too. So, but then other than that, as I say, if we've got, any other questions, please keep coming them in. We'll keep bothering Jack, of course, as well. If you've got anything you think of suddenly, or you're trying the Katmai too. But then the next beer we'll be talking on is also a collaboration brew as well. So we have double barreled. I'm sure most people remember we had the guys on the chat who were talking us through, they're based down in Reading. They make some absolutely fantastic beers. They've got also a great tap room down there as well. And they were great in coming through and talking to us and, just giving us a little bit of feedback and things when we brewed our collab together there. So now it was time for our brewers to head down to see them as well. So they made the way down to Reading, got sorted out with them, and we discussed for a while a type of beer we want to brew. We weren't sure, exactly, so we bounced some ideas back and forth. And something we've done previously is use one of our core beers and one of another breweries, and we thought this would be a fantastic time to combine Parker, which is the double-barreled 4.5% hazy core beer that they make. It's an absolute stunner of a beer by itself. So using their kit there, and then an infusion of all the hops from Jaipur, we started to add those in as well, and brewed up Jaiparka. So this is a collaboration of the two breweries, but also our two core beers as well. Over the years, we've done this, with different ones, and Steady on the Jipes, for example, or High Jai, and we know it works really well. And for me, this is one of my absolute favorite ones so far. They've done a fantastic job with it, the guys down at Double Barreled. I mean, if you just look how inviting it is, it's got that nice haze to it, that fantastic, I'm always obsessed with talking, just that fantastic, foam on the top there, that great head. It's so fluffy and white. And again, we were all enjoying this one. You get that nice bite at the end of it as well. Of course, that big lemony citrus note first. And then Tina just saying, yeah, very tasty. Tom loved Steady on the Jipes as well, but this could be better too. So certainly winning some people over there. How are you finding it over there, Russell? Have you had a chance to try it?
Yeah, Tom, you're my guy. Yeah, Steady on the Jipes is incredible, but this is so soft on the mouth. It's so soft, and like you said, the head retention's amazing. Yeah, what a beer that is, and we haven't got a lot of it, so I'm gutted. But yeah, it's incredible. I mean, in terms of can design, do you know anything more about that? It's a little bit reminiscent of Thornbridge Hall, but not quite. I'm not sure.
It is from, I believe it's Jaipur, is the actual bit on the front there. So yes, I'm not actually sure exactly where the design specifically has come from on it. Often with collabs, they send us it and we're like, that looks fantastic. And I believe that's the bit. I'm not sure how it ties in, actually. That's a very good question, Russell. We should ask these in advance. Be well prepared. But yeah, we should. But no, it does look great as well. And so just from the design and everything else they do. So yeah, it's good to get a few. We didn't have overly many of them really. So it was nice to get them straight into Beer Club, have them and enjoy them ourselves there as well.
That's true. Yeah, there won't be any in the shop at all. So yeah, it's kind of a Beer Club, I suppose. But I mean, just the fact that it's so kind of goldeny, orangey, kind of mandarin-y, it's just... Yeah, I always think that those kind of beers kind of mimic what your head feels like the next day if you've had too many of them. But what a stunner that one is. Yeah, well shot for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with you there. And it's certainly been very popular too. So, and also for Parker, which is that fantastic beer, and adding that like extra ABV a little from 4.5 to 5.9, but still having, encompassing the flavor of that. If you've not had the chance to try that one from Double Barreled, certainly go and try their, flagship beer as well there too, because they produce some fantastic beers on their kit down there. Matt had forgotten about it until you were just mentioning other Jaipur sort of beers. Yeah, Highlight, the collab we did a couple of years ago with Cigar City. So we took their Highlight, we took our Jaipur and collabed there as well. And a great honor to do that one too at the time as well. But yeah, it's always a fun one to do, and so when they suggest it and want to do it on their kit, absolutely. So Russell, yeah, sadly none of it in the shop at the moment, but it makes it more special for Beer Club members at least.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, actually, and have you got any events coming up in the tap room? Anything we should be thinking about?
We're gonna have something going on for the coronation, and then we've got sort of 3 bank holidays in May, so it'll be crazy. We've got Led Zeppelin, a tribute to that. I think that's May 19th. So yeah, we've got that going on, and then we're just focusing on summer for June, July, August, possibly a bit of September as well, hopefully with a bit of a late Indian summer. So it's going to be crazy. I thoroughly recommend, coming down for the day, booking onto an experience. You're more than welcome to get in touch with us direct if you're Beer Club members, and we'll make sure you're well looked after, well seen to. do a bit of an extra walk round if we can. And certainly if I've got time, I'm more than happy to do that. But are we allowed to speak of what was happening today, James, or is that top secret for the moment?
We've not gone out just yet, but
top secret. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone should put May 16th in your calendar, because there's an event on in the tap room then, and if people could get down to it, it'd be great. So yeah.
Yes,
that's all I'll say on that one.
Yeah, no, it's a good tease, Russell. Yeah, it is. We have something very exciting coming up that we are still ironing out the last bits and pieces, let's say. But yeah, it'll certainly be coming up and will be very exciting as well. And then Tom will be down at the tap room on Saturday before the Sheffield Half Marathon on Sunday. Booked in on the experience or in the afternoon.
I'll look out for that.
Yeah, but are you in on the day, Russell?
Yeah, I'll be in all day Saturday. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'll take a look at that. No problem at all. I'm assuming you have to put in the notes whether you're a 1 o'clock, 2:30, or a 4 o'clock experience, and I'll make sure I'm loitering around for you.
Nice. Oh, good. Well, yeah, thanks, Tom. Thanks for booking in and coming out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it up there. And of course, Russell will look after you very well while you're there. And after the Jaiparka, the double barrel collab we have one more beer. I know this is a favorite of yours, Russell, the Dera. So again, please tell us all about it.
Sorry, yeah, I'm still on that Jaiparka. That's incredible. Yeah, so sorry, yeah, so Jaiparka's my beer. I've always been that's kind of what led me to Thornbridge, or sort of 10, 12 years ago. But since then, I've enjoyed Dera, and this is a bit of a return beer, isn't it? Obviously, in collaboration with Firestone Walker, so Californian based. There's a similar sort of story, I suppose, with the founders of this brewery, and the fact that it's two friends, although I think they're stepbrothers or brothers-in-law, I think they are. That they just were on a search of a great beer. They wanted to make beer. They bought a second-hand kit. I think they had some wine bottling equipment that they had converted, and the rest is history. And I think that was about 25 years ago. I think actually this year or next year they're celebrating the 25th anniversary. So steeped in a lot of history, West Coast hops, hard hitting. But yeah, fantastic beer. I have been drinking a lot of Halcyon since last beer club. So depends on, if I'm just having a single beer for the evening, it's got to be a Halcyon for me. I think it's fantastic. But that in-between gap between your Halcyon, I think at 7.4 or 7.2, and your Jaipur at 5.9 is your Dera. 6.7, West Coast IPA, clear, really fruity. And yeah, it's just a fantastic returning beer. And I've noticed, obviously, it's in a fully printed can, James. So could we expect a lot more of
it? Probably, to be honest, the fully printed can was for the original run of it. So we're down to the end of our run of printed cans, unfortunately. So take advantage while you've got it, guys. It's as you say, it's a winner, and that's a good notes on the history of the brewery there as well. Titans of the American beer scene too, and I didn't know they'd started out with wine bottling equipment. So interesting. And we've done a couple of collabs with them now. The Dera, of course, that we did Mind Games, the barrel aged beer as well, where we did a saison. So Matt, who's their head brewer, and Rob, our production director, they went around France. They were looking at different barrels and different beers to put together, and they found gin barrels, which was very unusual. They were literally in the barrel yard and rocked up with this huge truck full of gin barrels, just been used, all fresh, with these fantastic juniper aromas. So they bought those, put them in the brewery, and then added in this amazing saison as well. So one you can also find as well, the Firestone Walker collab. And then Dera as well. The one, actually, the name for this came from the Colmore. So I know some of you have been Birmingham based as well. So if you've been in the Colmore and you go in, and you'll see the word Dera right in the top on the ceiling in between the two main rooms as well. So that kind of inspired us for the name behind Dera, which means balance. So we thought, perfect, that works really nicely there too. Okay, Tina, picture is Hawar Mahal, Palace of the Winds in Jaipur. Thank you, Tina. We're going to pretend when anyone asks that we knew that already. But appreciate you finding that for us. That's a good spot, and makes a lot of sense as well. So, brill. Oh, good. And so, Russell, sorry, you were saying you'd been, of course, excited Pondera was back. I know I've got a fridge full of you stocked up as well while you've got it.
I've got 2 cases, yeah, which is probably excessive, but yeah, you know, I think it's brilliant. I think it's an excuse to have 2 instead of 1 halcyon. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest cashmere fan. I know we spoke about it earlier, but in terms of a hop, cashmere is my kind of back end one. So, and this has got it in, which is why I'm saying. So to have that in, I just think it's just got obviously brilliant balance. You know, it's fantastic as the name kind of states. So yeah, well chuffed with it. Great again. You know, West Coast IPA. Yeah, goes hand in hand. Brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's been a real winner. It was very excited to get it back. I made sure I grabbed some extras as well, of course, and I'll do the same again. I'm gonna Friday night tomorrow. Make sure I crack some open. I think definitely it's a Friday night beer for me.
Absolutely, yeah. And every now and again, a couple of cans are dented in production, and you know they're up for grabs with some of the production staff. And no Pondera was left. You know, none were dented. Wow. Apparently, they all went into cases. So I'm told. So there wasn't any left on the Friday after production. So yeah, obviously it's a very, very good beer.
Yeah, no, certainly popular, as we're mentioning, with the team at the brewery and everyone else we talked to as well. So it's been good to bring that one back as well. But that takes us through the beers for you know, the latest beer box. Again, apologies at the start for having to move it at the last minute. We are now looking at the last Thursday of the month in April for the next one. You've got to hold me to that because there's no Thursdays left after that one. So we're aiming for the 27th at the moment. We'll send out all the official stuff as well. But we'll be on here talking through all the beers and everything else coming up. Going to be some exciting ones. And by then we'll be able to tell you a little more about the secret that we teased there as well. So certainly some fantastic stuff coming up as well. Steve loving the Katmai. So yeah, we certainly all are here as well, Steve. So really big thanks, Jack, for you know, coming on, joining us, telling us about the beer and aspects. It's really great to hear a bit more about it. So thank you very much. Hopefully see you around at some of the festivals coming up soon. I'm excited to again see the difference between the 2 beers that you mentioned coming out as well. So yeah, I'll be certainly keeping my eyes peeled for the series. Joe and Gary there saying, yeah, perfect after the London Marathon. So wow. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'll keep you nice and refreshed at least. So, and good luck. And yeah, wow. And so, yeah, after that, thank you all very much again. Looking forward to seeing you all next week. And Tom as well, coming into the tap room as well. So, hope that goes well. I'm sure you'll, of course, be very well looked after by Russell in there too as well. So, again, cheers, guys. Thank you all very much for joining us this evening. Thank you, Charlotte, for looking after us. Thank you, Russell, for taking the time. And again, thanks, Jack, for joining us tonight. So enjoy the rest of your nights, guys. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. So cheers. Goodbye.